Shalom, everyone, on this wonderful second Yom of the Shabbat. Last night I came on here and I was talking about the helpers are coming when it comes to your business, right? So Yahuwah has been definitely having me in a time where I'm reading about Nehemiah, and we know Nehemiah was about rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem. He was a cupbearer. He got favor with the king he was working for to go rebuild the wall, but he did it in secret. But however, he had people to go and help him, but he did not tell them everything that Yahuwah had placed in his heart to rebuild Jerusalem. And so what I'm getting to today is chapter 6. And we see that Nehemiah the whole time has two people that is trying to oppress him, really, which is Sanballat and Tobiah. And in chapter 6, like, what I love about Nehemiah is, like, here's a vision that Yahuwah had gave this prophet. Yes, he was working under someone, but Yahuwah gave him favor with the king, and he asked the king, can you give me letters so when I'm going through this town with the governors that I'm not going to have any issues, in which the king did. And he had deputy rulers. But when it came in time to rebuild Jerusalem, at each gate, there was somebody appointed, goldsmith that was appointed. And the whole time I'm reading about Nehemiah, I'm thinking about what happened to the Black Wall Street and how these people, Israelites, first of all, they probably made agreements with the oppressors, so that's probably why it got destroyed. Or the oppressors just got really jealous and came and destroyed it anyway. But how they built this town and it was successful. They had bankers, they had judges, they had all these things, and they was just very successful in how the enemy used oppressors to come in and destroy their town by bombing it. I don't know if they flooded it, but I think they came in and bombed it and just destroyed it with fire. But if you look at what Nehemiah was saying in chapter 4, right? In chapter 4, you'll see where the walls have been burnt down to rubbish. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm sitting there and I was like, wow, Yahuwah, I can definitely see it, where you're having your children, the Israelites and, the Gentiles, those that are truly following the Most High, accepting Yahusha as their Elohim, going to begin to rebuild the walls of quote unquote Jerusalem here on the Arets until you come back, you know what I'm saying? And people are going to know that it's you, Yahuwah, because it's going to be built in no time. What would take years to build, it's going to take us no time to build. But however, just know, as they were rebuilding this wall, the enemies would try to come. So as they're building the wall, he had to have people on guard while others worked. But as even they worked, they had to have weapons. We know that our weapons are not carnal, but mighty through Yah, pulling down the strongholds. But also our weapons is prayer, fasting, and the word of Yahuwah. Every time the enemy tried to come and tempt Yahusha during his 40-day fasting before he got catapulted into the ministry he was called into, here comes Satan coming with, if you are the son of Yahuwah, you know what I'm saying? So you have to know the word. You have to come with your sword. You got to always be on guard at all times. I'm not talking about on guard that you paranoid, but when he comes with at you in your mind or through people, you got to come with the sword. You got to know who your president is. And it's not man. It's Yahuwah himself. That's who you answer to. That's who you report to on your daily basis. That's who you get your instructions and your assignments from. Right? And so when we get to chapter 6, Sanballat and Tobiah is trying to get Nehemiah off this wall by sending the same message over and over again. And what I loved about Nehemiah was like, he was aware that they was planning to do evil to him. And so when they kept sending him letters, he was like, but they're planning to do evil to me. So I sent messengers to them. He sent messengers to them and said, I'm doing a good work and I'm unable to come down. So why should the work cease while I leave it and come to you? You know what I'm saying? And so they kept sending, I think they sent the same message back to Nehemiah about 6 times. And so they couldn't get him to come down. So guess what they tried to do? They tried to send false prophets to put fear in Nehemiah. But he realized, look, now you're trying to send prophets here, false prophets to come here and put fear in me. But you know what I loved about Nehemiah? He stayed focused on the work. He didn't back down even when false prophets come in. He just was like, and then he sent they sent a prophet and say, let us meet together and let us hide in the Hekal. And he was like, I'm not going in the Hekal. I'm not going in there. So why should I be afraid? Why should I be afraid and sin by hiding from my oppressors when I know Yahuwah is with me, right? So he didn't go hide. And then he said, Yahuwah, I really pray for those that have tried to do evil and reproach me. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much giving them over to Yahuwah and say, let your judgment be done. However, what I loved about it is in 52 Yomin, Nehemiah and them got done with rebuilding the walls. And their enemies, however, fell greatly in their own eyes and knew that this work was done by our Elohim. And so that's what it is of being consistent and persistent. What I'm saying is, you're probably like, okay, well, Kendra, what are you trying to say? As you are rebuilding the walls, doing the business that Yahuwah has called you to do, you're going to have all kind of religious leaders. You may have some, if you're the ones called into the mountain of government, you're going to have them to try to come and say, oh, you shouldn't write that. They're going to try all they can. It's just like that king where Jeremiah, who was writing the letters to the king, and he took all the letters that Jeremiah who had written and burned it. And this is what has happened with the oppressors over the years. They have burnt things thinking that, oh, I can burn it. It can't be rewritten. But Yahuwah is setting a record straight and rewriting things. And I wouldn't be surprised if there start being many Wall Streets that begin to multiply. And it got nothing to do with the Wall Street, the corruptness of Wall Street over there in New York. I'm talking about his Wall Street. And they're not going to be able to destroy it because it's going to be built up so quickly. But I could see it where he would have his people to move in silent. Only certain people would know, and certain people ain't going to know. Right? But I just love it because, but just know that you will have those false prophets that your oppressors will try to send and say, all you got to do is say the name of Yahuwah and they going to know. But no. When you're walking closer with Yahuwah, He's going to make you so sensitive of the ones He sent and the ones He have not sent, because, the ones that He have sent are not going to try to destroy your work. They're going to try to help you build your work. They know their parts, but those that are not sent by Yahuwah is going to try to destroy. They're going to try to get you to come off your wall. But you got to be adamant. You cannot be fearful in this time. Regardless of how many threats they may try to throw your way, no matter how many times they try to say, I'm going to shut down your LLC or I'm going to take your trademark name, you keep doing what you're doing because you're on the right track. Because like I said, this is the hands of Yahuwah upon your life. And I may do a part 2 of this. So once again, thanks for listening on Out the Box Kingdom. Talk with me. Out the Box Kingdom. Like I said, stay the course. Stay the course. I don't abort the mission. You're on the right track. Shalom.